welcome to Defen, episode number 65.
The official retirement age for this show, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Aren't we increasing the retirement age every year?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So by the time you reach the retirement age, it's going to be extended for another 5 years. So,
I think with the financial crisis and all these coronaviruses, we've got to keep on working, keep on grinding out the Patreons.
Exactly.
Thanks for inviting me.
Hey, welcome to the Defan. I think we started, so fuck it. Episode number 65, I guess. So it's the same usual people. Ray from Belgium and Vijay from Holland, and our special guest today, Vlad.
Yes, my name is Vlad.
Hello, Vlad.
I thought your name was Vlad.
Yes, I prefer if you pronounce Vlad.
Yes.
Okay. So
it's the Dutch way. It's the Dutch way.
Uh-huh.
What do you call that when you extend? Is it like a syllables or not syllables, right? Still one syllable, but
is it
extended?
Vowel?
No, that's true. But Vlad. What is the how do you call the linguistic difference between Vlad and Vlad? If I have to write it down.
I haven't.
Okay,
we're not linguistic experts here. So,
so if you are listening to this podcast and you are the linguistic expert, and if you want to win an amazing prize of we saying your name on the podcast, please let us know.
Who the fuck is X?
Yes. So maybe it's a good idea to introduce yourself, Vlad. So tell us about your what are you up to, and where did you come from, and into Clojure, I mean.
Where did you come from?
Exactly.
I came from Russia.
Who are you, man?
Oh my god, yeah.
The Russians are coming.
The Russians are coming. They're invading everywhere. Is this going to be a disinformation podcast?
Sorry?
Is this going to be a disinformation podcast?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Probably not.
Well, if we've got anything to do with it, it will be.
So I'm from Russia. I studied to be a designer, but later in the university I realized that I prefer programming. But I still got my degree, and I guess I retained some desire for good UI and UX. And so my path in programming started with games. I was writing action script at my very first jobs. So I was writing Flash games for social networks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. And now, where is the Flash?
Yeah. But how do you feel about Flash's official funeral?
I guess I moved on already, so I don't feel anything anymore about that.
Yeah.
You've gone past it, and you're in acceptance now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the 5 stages are done now.
Yeah.
But early on, I discovered Java, and I was blown away by its power, which I guess may sound silly now, but compared to ActionScript, I could write generics. It's like there was so much possibilities for that.
Yeah.
And then I discovered.
That means you must have joined Java a little bit late then, because they were only in Java 5. So that shows that you're still a youth,
So I think we now measure people's age by Java diamond operators. It's there all the time. Like okay, now you're 1.7.
Yeah, I joined Java in 1.7.
All right, okay.
And then I learned Scala, and I was again blown away by its power compared to Java. Yeah, and then I discovered Clojure. And then
you're just put in, you're not blown away. You're just, stably staying because lack of power.
No, but then I was truly blown away because
So you blew away from Russia.
Yeah. Because I guess, yeah, I just realized that with Scala, I felt very powerful, but I struggled with actually writing stuff because there was always this desire to, I don't know, make your problem like the whole problem be checked at the compile time, and it gets harder and harder, and eventually you realize. I realized that there is not much benefit to it if I can just prototype it in REPL and have it working.
Yeah. But what kind of projects did you do in Java and Scala before coming to Clojure? Because you said you had a bit of a gaming experience in ActionScript, and obviously Java and JVM is not really known for gaming.
Yeah, but I actually did write some games in Java. Yeah, for Android only.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I guess, a bit strange for a mobile game, but that's what I could do. And I didn't have access to iPhone.
Well, I think they're one of the most popular games of all time is written in Java, isn't it?
Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Minecraft,
yeah.
Actually, I currently work at King. Which is, and as far as I know, Marcus Persson, the creator of Minecraft, also worked at King.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
I heard some stories that he pitched this game to King, but was rejected because they didn't think it will get popular.
Yeah, that's like the Beatles, turning down the Beatles, isn't it?
But this is something
that was a pop band in the 60s, by the way, of Vlad. So
nobody knows your references.
Yeah, exactly.
I think by this time we just nod. We were not, boys. We were not. So we are at that situation now. But I think most of the games that King builds are also mobile games now.
Yes, and they are not written in Java. They are written in mostly C++.
Ah, okay. So what are you doing there with Clojure then?
Well, actually, I don't write Clojure on my day job, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what brought you into Clojure from Java to Scala to Clojure?
Well, yes, the power to do what I intend to do. I guess I feel the most.
So it's like expressivity.
Yeah, I feel the most enabled writing Clojure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like you said with Scala or some other languages, you can feel like you've got a big sword, but you don't exactly know how to wield it. Whereas Clojure is, you can definitely.
It's a pocket knife.
Yeah, it's a pocket knife or a dagger or a scabbard. I don't know.
What the fuck is a scabbard?
Pocket knife the size of the sword.
You must have really long pockets, man. Nice. So,
yeah, so I started in game dev, but then I thought that maybe more enterprise Java pays better, so I tried also that. And I wrote some Java in for Russian government, a little bit.
Ooh.
Nothing about meddling with elections. Just.
Well, I mean, why would you say that anyway? So.
I mean, yeah, maybe I'm obliged to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you use any frameworks or something in Enterprise Java then? Like Spring or something?
Yeah, Spring Boot. I haven't.
Yeah.
I have never understood it. I just
used it.
I just slapped some annotations on classes and rolled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I discovered Clojure and was pretty happy with it, and I Yeah, I worked writing Clojure for a Russian logistics startup, and then I moved to Sweden to write Clojure there at King. So I did write Clojure at King at the default editor. It's a default is a game engine for for developing games.
Yeah.
An editor for that is written in Clojure. So I joined the team. It was very fun, but then King decided to
default on default.
Yes. So now I'm writing Java.
Okay, but is the default thing was it JVM Clojure or was it something like Arcadia, like the mono Clojure thing?
No, the thing is the engine itself is written in C and C++.
Sure. Yeah.
And the scripting language for this game engine is Lua, but Clojure is used in the editor for that. So you have like a desktop application which is written in Clojure that allows you to iterate on this editor, iterate on the game you do using this editor.
Okay.
So what is it? What is it? What do they use now for that?
Sorry?
Is it still Clojure they use, or did you just switch jobs, or did you did they decide to write it again in Lua or something else?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
The editor. You said you stopped working on it.
Yes, because King decided to shut down the default.
They just completely shut it down. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
They open sourced it, and there are like 2 guys working on it, and I hope they will make it fly. So I'll be able to get back to them, but currently they just don't have enough funds to also have more people at the dev team.
But I think using Clojure for desktop applications is an interesting choice, right? Because that's usually not that common in the Clojure community, I would say. Maybe using Electron. So how did you build this one? Maybe this could lead into your open source projects now.
Yeah, so we are slowly leading to CLJFX.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So before joining King and default team, I was in a small startup that they used Clojure on the backend and Clojure script on the front end, and I was using Reframe and Reagent and was pretty happy about how this whole stack works, because from my previous experience using in game dev, where everything is super mutable, usually it was very painful to do any UI. So I was kind of curious, like, how is it gonna be at default? Do they have something like that? And unfortunately, they didn't. So, like, they made the core of the editor, which is like all about incrementally building your project and like hot swapping parts of it when you are developing it to provide some REPL-like experience for game dev. So they had this very functional core, but the UI for that was still this imperative mess. So that's when I decided that there needs to be something like a React for JavaFX, and I just did it.
So that's the CLJFX then.
Yes.
Okay. And you built the default editor in CLJFX, or is it just plain Swing application or JavaFX?
It's JavaFX application. I mean, they already had it when I joined them for quite a long time. It's like quite a big application. So we started replacing like smaller parts of it with CLJFX, like where it made sense. But we didn't have time to to rewrite it to use CLJFX like as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about JavaFX then? I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know, it seems like maybe it looked like an abandoned project a few years ago, but then I think there are enough people just about keeping it alive in Oracle. So, or am I wrong now? Because I lost touch with it maybe it's 5 years ago. What's the current state of JavaFX itself?
Well, if you judge it by Twitter accounts of people who maintain it, it's very rocking.
Right. Okay.
Is it still maintained by Oracle, or there is something like OpenFX or something?
Yeah, I mean,
because I remember there was some Open Dolphin at some point, and then some shit happened around it.
So JavaFX was a part of the GTK distribution, like in Java 1.8, and then they decided they want to split it apart and make that like just a separate dependency that you can install.
Yeah.
So they moved it out, but as far as I know, there is still team at Oracle that develops it. But now they're on GitHub.
Yeah. Nice.
So what kind of like changes have occurred in JavaFX in the last few years then that you've noticed? What's I mean, I guess the question is, you're using it. Are you just using it because you're using it, or are you using
why would
it
you
because
use
actually,
JavaFX? Yeah.
are you using it because you think actually it's a pretty good platform now?
I would say actually, and this is maybe a little bit of a spoiler before we start talking about Reveal, but I had some thoughts about had some vision of Reveal even before I started writing CLJFX. I just I felt that if I want this kind of visual tool to be extendable by people, they wouldn't want to write in this imperative mess, which is JavaFX. They would prefer to use something declarative and just feed in data structures and be done with it.
Yeah.
I think JavaFX is a fine framework, but it's I would split it, my perception of it, in two parts. First, there is a lower level UI element like labels and some layout grids and horizontal and vertical boxes, and those are great. But then there are controls and tables and charts, and they are very fragile, and they really go against you if you want to behave them differently or look differently. So there are good and bad parts. That would be my opinion of JavaFX.
So the integration with Clojure, then, is it because JavaFX has, I'm assuming, does it have its own programming model like Swing? Because I did some Java desktop development a long time ago, and there was still AWT, and then we moved to Swing, and then bit of an Eclipse RCP related things. So does JavaFX bring in its own programming model that you need to translate into Clojure? How did it work?
Well, you just create mutable objects and call setters on them.
Okay. Yeah.
And in addition to that, there are some sort of observable pattern that is used everywhere in JavaFX, where you can bind every mutable place to another. And well, in CLJFX, I just don't use it at all. I just translate the data structures to calls to setters.
Okay. So in terms of like let's say React, like the idea of React is that you have a function to transform the view, but it's got a sort of a virtual DOM and all this kind of stuff. So how does that play out with JavaFX? Is it just, are you really just doing a straight pass through, or are you doing some buffering or some optimizations, or are you doing some other things that are like working on making the rendering more efficient, or am I just talking out of my hat now?
I'm doing pretty similar thing to what React does. So
right.
it has diffing. So it's like you don't recreate the whole like display graph on every change.
Right.
But that's it.
So JavaFX is amenable to that. It's actually got a kind of like a view. You can grab the whole view and do a diff on it. That's something that I'm quite impressed by, actually. I didn't realize that JavaFX had that kind of.
But I mean, I don't read from JavaFX. I mean, all the diffing that I do is a diffing of Clojure data structures.
Okay. I see. It makes sense.
So I see, like, I compare new one with the previous one, and if there are changes, I just call setters.
Right.
So I completely ignore the state of JavaFX objects, and it seems to work out fine.
Yep, good.
But how is the threading model in JavaFX? Is it something similar to Swing? Because it must be only one UI thread, or
it's not thread safe. Yes, and there is a UI thread, but there are like in JavaFX there is an entry point for that, which is a thread safe, and you can just, I don't know, DDoS it with data.
Maybe it's S-DOSing it. It's not distributed. It's just single distributed denial of service. It's just denial of service. It's DOS it.
Just DOS it. And it will do all the deduplication for you and will queue like the minimum amount of refreshes on UI threads. So even though there is like a phrasing model, when you're using CLJFX, you don't have to care about it at all.
Okay.
Well, I guess except when you are doing event handlers, because they happen on the UI thread. So you shouldn't really do blocking IO in your event handlers. But that's all.
Okay. And how does this compare to things like, for example, Electron? Because these days, I think all the desktop applications, they're basically built with this Electron framework, the web UI stuff, bringing onto the. I mean, we're talking in Discord and all this shit. I think Visual Studio Code and every fancy thing is now built in. I don't know, 20 gigabytes RAM requiring browser window running in a native application.
Yeah, I mean, Clojure and JVM is also pretty intense on resources.
That's true.
So it's not
probably not as much as the Electron applications, but
yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm using VS Code. It seems to run very smoothly.
Yeah.
But yeah, not every Electron application is like that, I would assume.
Yeah.
So if I were to compare JavaFX to Electron, I would say that Electron is a solid choice. But I mean, as a language runtime, JVM I think is better than JavaScript VMs. And this is also true even when you're in Clojure, because like they have different compilation models, and in Clojure you can define macros in the same compilation stage, like in the same namespace. In Clojure script, you have to be very careful about that. So I would say like, a development experience is better when you're using the JVM. And if you want to be in the JVM, then then I think JavaFX is a good choice, because Electron is a different process probably, so you will have to. There will be just more moving parts that you will have to be careful about.
Yeah, and also I think if you want to use all the libraries, I think JVM has better access to those libraries. I'm guessing. I don't know. I mean, maybe now JavaScript ecosystem is way better now with Node and shit and whatnot.
Yeah,
well, I think the difference is that it's like, I mean, it's the UI part. The funny thing is, I would have thought that, again, like the JavaFX is a bit starved of frameworks or render, sort of things to make it look pretty, to things to kind of like, to make the UI experience more modern, I guess, all the typefaces and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know, maybe like I say, I've lost a bit of touch with JavaFX. Does it have web fonts and all these kind of things, or how kind of like stylable is it compared to the browser, which has got tons and tons of options and resizable and scalable, all these kind of things that have been happening in the modern browser apps in the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah, I just was about to mention that if you want some kind of typesetting, then I think Electron and browsers are obvious choice, because they evolved from that model that the web pages are documents of text, so you can like just use Control F to find any text on the page. This isn't possible in JavaFX. You have to implement it yourself if you need that, and like effortless zoom in or zoom out. So in that sense, web is better.
So I think I'm not sure. I think maybe the JavaFX is more intended to replace Swing, right? I mean, like the building desktop applications, which are not. I mean, you can't zoom in and zoom out into any native applications anyway, regardless of operating system. So I think it's the similar kind of. It's another stab at, okay, let's use Java, that's going deploy everywhere sort of shit. That never worked, and then they always looked ugly. And there's a funny thing, because the only application that even at that time that didn't look like Java application was IntelliJ. I think JetBrains folks were doing a lot of stuff to not to make it look like Java application. And every other thing, by just looking at it, people can say, oh, this is Java application. It's like, this one stinks, so I know this is shit, So,
well, the reason you could tell it was a Java application was it took about 3 minutes to start.
Yeah, and also that stupid logo, and then there is this abomination of Java Web Start or something, and that's another shit. Anyway, good old times.
But JavaFX uses CSS for its styling.
Ooh. Okay.
So you're sort of, I mean, you can configure it pretty far to look like something else.
So you can configure it to just enough to say this is not a Java application. But I think these days it's the difference is not going to be that difficult, especially given that all these Electron applications, they don't behave like native applications. So the proliferation of Electron driven shit, there's so many of apps built in this one, and none of them behave in a reasonable way you expect on a platform. So I guess it's okay now. I think
the way I look at it,
the bar is low.
Like, exactly. The bar is low.
But the way I look at it is like a lot of these JavaFX applications. I mean, it's interesting you say that, Vlad. I've got a design background, because a lot of people use JavaFX because they're Java programmers and they want to do something in the UI, and actually the UIs are always shit. I mean, really terrible. But the nice thing about Bootstrap and stuff like that in the browser was you could be a developer. And then
just use somebody else's CSS.
Just use someone else's CSS, and it would kind of look half decent, Even if I mean, obviously Bootstrap is kind of like aging a little bit now, and everyone's a bit pissed off with it, but it looks a lot better than most people's CSS did, handcrafted web pages and stuff, And I think JavaFX applications, I'm looking at a few that I've seen in the recent years. Mentioning no names, REPL, but ugly pieces of code.
REPL just uses the default JavaFX styling.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess they need a better CSS.
Yeah.
They should use Bootstrap CSS.
Yeah. I mean, come on. But if you just better.
Exactly.
One little line, Anyway, yeah. No, but I definitely, we're coming on to reveal, I guess, now. The big reveal.
This is the big reveal.
It's time to reveal it.
So what is reveal? Reveal the reveal.
Reveal is a read-eval visualize loop.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I was pretty happy when I came up with it.
I mean, as they say, that is the most difficult problem to solve. And then if you solve that one, like naming the thing properly, then
yeah,
then you're pretty much done.
I like that you went with reveal though rather than revel. I mean,
yes,
because you could have went with that. Like, revel is a sort of like REPL, and revel in something is very, you're kind of happy, and so. But reveal is more, because of the visual aspect. So I like that.
Yes, exactly. Actually, I still have like a private repo on GitHub, which is
called Revel.
It's called Revel. Yes, that has early experiments. I just at some point I realized that it shouldn't be called Revel. It should be called Reveal.
Yeah. No, I think you made a good choice there. Yeah.
So what is the idea behind it? So I think we'll stop.
Now we've got the hard problem out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are many ideas behind it, but I guess the main vision I had for that is to be able to hold a value in your hand, which is, I guess, impossible thing to do. But I guess I'm trying to get closer to that, and like as a step which brings you closer to holding a value in your hand. Is being able to select it and do immediately something with it. So this is, I think, one of the bigger things about reveal.
So can you explain it like I'm 5?
No.
Okay,
3 then.
Okay.
Hello, VJ. Are you sitting comfortably? Put the crowns down. Come on. No, stop, VJ. Stop.
It's going to be like the Sesame Street sort of thing.
My daughter is 2-year-old. I can't explain anything to her.
So what does it mean practically to hold the value in your hand?
It's Clojure, dear. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, to me, holding a value in a hand means being able to quite easily, see it from different angles just by rotating your arm. And if we translate this metaphor to a desktop application model, then what Reveal provides is a way to select any text that it output, like when you print the data structure. You see text, and you can select parts of the text. For example, you can select some value inside the map, and you can immediately evaluate some code on it. So you just bring up a context menu and can write any form that will do something with it. And there are many built-in contextual actions for different types of objects to make ability to look at the value from different angles, like closer at hand, which means easier.
So how do you compare this to Rebel, for example?
It's
better.
It's okay. You said it, not me.
It has better CSS. I'm assuming.
Yeah. At least it has better CSS. But
yeah.
I remember when I was doing early prototypes of Reveal, and then REPL was released. I was very worried, like, oh shit, now I have to compete with Cognitect. I'm doomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the ideas behind them are very different. So I guess to each their own. What was I talking about?
So the difference between
the comparisons.
Yes.
What you perceive the different visions to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the bigger differences is that I don't use Datafy, which is like a newer protocol which was later added into Clojure like pretty recently, because I think when I develop something, I'm working with objects in the VM.
Yeah.
And Datafy transforms these objects into something else. I mean, it transforms them to data, which is, I mean, usually it's very good because, I mean, if you are, well, it's usually immutable and you can inspect it. But the problem is that you had an object and now you have something else. So your ability to view what's in your process is reduced because of that.
Yeah.
Because you were thinking you have an exception, like object, but all you see is like a datafied throwable.
Yeah.
Or and I think this is the thing that angers me most, is that it transforms atoms to single element vectors for inspection. But I mean, it still puts like the original atom into metadata of that vector. But I think it's very confusing when you try like to work with the atoms, but you just can't see them. So Reveal uses different approach to that. It doesn't try to hide what you have, and instead it allows you to see what you have from different angles. And Datafy and nav is just one of those angles. So even though I don't use them by default, I still have like, contextual actions for them if they make sense.
So is Reveal something like you're going to or so use it in addition to the REPL, or can it be just like a REPL that I open? So how do I use that thing then?
I use it as a REPL. So I use cursive, and there is like in cursive there is a default REPL output panel, and I just don't use that one. I just close that when I start Reveal, and I use Reveal window to see the output.
Okay.
So it's just like a window that is like on the side of the screen, which contains
floating
output.
Window. Yeah. Okay. So it can plug into. So essentially, you start Reveal, and then you connect to that Reveal session from your code.
I mean,
is it just a normal REPL? Like is it a REPL or
it,
something that you can connect to? And
it's a normal REPL. Or I mean, it's many things.
And you're revealing one by one now.
Yes, and
it's normal REPL.
it's a REPL itself that you can see from many angles, I guess.
Yeah.
I think.
How do you hold a REPL in your hand?
The simplest thing that is Reveal is it's a function that has a OS window. And when you call this function with some value, it shows it in that window.
Okay.
So you can just create this Reveal windows at will and use them to submit values to them. And there are a bunch of REPLs, and they are just built on top of that. like lower level primitive. They're just like lightweight wrappers of other REPLs that just submit values to that function. And it also has NREPL middleware because NREPL is popular. So it has many entry points. You can use it as a REPL or as a part of NREPL or just as a window if you want to submit only like very occasionally values to it.
So the editor integration is just via REPL then. So it doesn't matter which editor you're using. So you can just connect to your code from that one.
Yes, I think it's a great thing. Is that it's in process, and that means it's available to every Clojure IDE that can send forms to REPL.
I mean, the only Clojure IDE that matters is Emacs anyway. So as long as it works in Emacs, then it's fine.
I still
I think that's for the one or two people who are using other shit. Like okay,
I still have PTSD from SpaceMax.
I know this session is going to resolve that one. Don't worry, we're here. From your designer point of view, I'm pretty sure it might be completely different experience, right? Looking at all these different editors.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Reveal is available.
So just to escape badly designed editors, you had to build your own REPL.
Nice. I think it also might be a good thing for ecosystem because it might like lift the burden from the IDE authors to create like exploration and inspection tools, because currently basically every IDE has their own and they are not transferable. It's like you have your debug panel in IntelliJ and that's it. It's only there.
Yeah.
And then you have, CIDR's inspect view, and again, it's only there.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that you don't really integrate to the debugger, do you? Or do you do that?
No, but I don't use debugger. And
okay.
And I haven't felt the need to use debugger in Clojure. I think one honorable mention here would be TAP. So I used to use print lines for debugging, and now I don't use it anymore because TAP is much more powerful. So it's also a recent addition to Clojure.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I've got to say, reveal to me, what the actual point of TAP was. It was fucking ridiculous, really. That the people who made TAP couldn't explain it. But actually, reveal shows that once you tap a value out to something like reveal, then it's just a data rather than a string. So therefore, if you can hold a bit of data in reveal in your hand, then suddenly the println is a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
TAP is brilliant. Forget pretty print. Forget print. All print subsystems are dead now. TAP is the king.
Yes.
We just need to tap into reveal. Another pun.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it, we're not.
No, but it's really awesome. I mean, I'm really.
Yeah.
It's super fabulous now that TAP is suddenly like,
useful. Yeah,
it's suddenly useful. Have you ever used it, PJ? No. Yeah. Why would you? You're thinking, what the fuck is this thing? It just disappears into the ether.
Yeah. it's just like Datafy, and then okay, we heard about that one, and then moving on, and then Rebel. We heard about it, and then it's just moving on, and especially if it is behind the closed source thing, and But I think I gotta try a reveal, and then probably it will. Then I can tap into the awesomeness.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So reveal can also be used for both Clojure and Clojure script, or I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So how does it work? So can I just open CLJS REPL into reveal?
It's complicated-ish.
Yeah, but still doable.
Yes, it's doable. So when I was thinking about reveal and designing it, I felt that there is not much need for this kind of tool in the Clojure script, because when you are doing Clojure script, it's usually in browser, and you already have pretty powerful tools there. So you have like a page inspector and browser's console output. It's actually sort of a reveal, because when you console log something, you don't log strings, you log data there.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
So you also can inspect from there.
Mm.
So I mainly felt that such a tool is needed in the JVM land. So that's why reveal is primarily about the JVM. But since reveal is just a window, and it can, like, you can wrap different REPLs. Reveal in its default package provides a way to talk to remote peer REPLs.
Okay.
And that makes it usable, or that makes it composable with the Clojure script, for example. So you can have a Clojure script REPL, and you can connect reveal to it, and you can evaluate forms and see results in the reveal.
Okay.
But there is a slight difference still. Is that when you show the values in the reveal output window, they are the values that you received from the network. So they are not the objects in the target process.
Yeah.
So like the exploration ability in that sense is limited. But I think it's still pretty nice. And and reveal has various table and chart views that you don't have to do anything to use. You can just by having data in the proper shape, reveal can show it as a chart or as a table. And you still have this when you're talking to Clojure script REPL, for example.
Yeah. I think one of the things, because I work on a reasonably large Clojure application, and the front end is completely reframe and that kind of stuff, and then it uses the pneumatic tubes to send the events back and forth on WebSockets. I think one of the over the period, I get really pissed with these two REPLs and all this stuff, and still the development experience is still kind of hacky. It feels a bit fragile. So obviously, I'm not a guy who can come up with new ideas. So I'm just hoping, someone is going to think about this shit and then build a better tooling around this crap. When I was writing only Clojure code, it was pretty easy because I just use Emacs and then I have Cider, and then it's happy la la land. And then suddenly this Clojure script shit comes in, and then there is Figwheel main, Shadow CLJS, and all this. And we keep adding all these things, and then suddenly there are two different places that I need to inspect the stuff in, and especially because they both are talking WebSockets, and so there is no unified way to resolve this, I think.
Well, there are two execution platforms, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, but that's that's what I'm saying, that it's but the whole idea of Clojure is that to have, like, okay, it's going to be the same language, and we have CLJC, and then it's the same kind of things available.
That's not the idea of Clojure, in fact.
Yeah. Well, the whole point is that you use the same kind of structures everywhere. If I have
it's a hosted language,
REPLs,
VJ. Remember that.
Yeah, then that means there is going to be only JVM somewhere, and then we just use shit there. We don't need to jump between these REPLs, and it gets so fucking annoying and frustrating these days. Like, oh, fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to write JavaFX and then screw this shit.
I think you've got your answer.
Exactly. think eventually give up and then just use JavaFX and everything is on JVM, so screw this.
Yeah, just a single process.
Exactly.
How simpler can it get?
Yeah, but it is something that if I had to explain this to someone who is pretty new to Clojure and then I'm introducing them to this project, it is slowly getting to a point like, wow, this shit if is pretty difficult to configure and then get your everything up and running. So
yeah, I would say this is one of the reasons why I love socket REPLs over NREPL. I mean, I don't have anything against NREPL, but socket REPLs are just so simple. I mean, it's just two streams in out and.
What do you think of the P-REPL then, Vlad? Because the P-REPL to me is even more awesome because you're getting data out.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But
it's like you've got socket REPLs, then you've got like data on top of socket REPLs. Ooh, nice.
Yes, I think REPLs are useful only when you're doing like inter-process communication, because then you have like data over wire, and this is like something easy to deal with. But if you have like a REPL in the process, then you just don't need it. I mean, just
that's true. Yeah,
just have your regular REPL. So yes, I think it's great for networking.
I think I mean, talking about the developer experience, remember there used to be this thing called Meteor framework. Now with the MongoDB as the backend and everything, I think they try to solve that in a pretty decent way. I mean, starting a Meteor application and then it's a full front end and the backend and everything. So it was much better, I think, at some point.
But I don't think Reveal can do anything about it.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
No, I think the thing about Meteor again, it's like it's an island mentality, isn't it? So if you think that Meteor is the future and everyone's going to come to Meteor, then great, But in fact, I think Meteor just like flamed out, just like a meteor would. So
I think that was
it was kind of in the name, It was like it was always going to flame out. So a nice idea, but it was never gonna win because the other islands are just too big. The server side and the front end are just they're just dominated by other tech.
So Reveal is built in CLJFX?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
And you can extend it. Like it has a pluggable extension point where you can define your own like contextual actions on objects, like contextual inspections, and you can also use CLJFX there. So if you have your problem domain that is visual, you can easily build a UI for that in Reveal.
So what are the future plans for Reveal then? Or revealing the future plans? So is it in a production state right now? Like people can just download it and then use it by going to vlad.github.io/reveal.
Yes, I think it's in 1.0 for a couple of months already.
Nice.
But I actually have been using it, I guess, for more than a year. It's like as soon as I bootstrapped it, so it was usable as a REPL, I just used that.
Yeah.
But about future plans, there are some. One of them is I want to investigate JavaScript and web support, because JavaFX can show built-in browsers.
Yeah.
You can build in a browser as a view, but there's still like a big problem with that is when you go from Java to JavaScript, like it is possible that you no longer have access to your Java objects. I mean, this is the part that I haven't investigated yet, but I plan to do that. And for like enable continuous exploration of objects and inspection of them. Like one of the problems to solve is that I want to see I want to get a hold on the reference to Java objects from inside that JavaScript subsystem for reveal, or how can I name it? So this is to be done, and another big thing is, I would say, being able to control reveal from the REPL. Actually, I got these kinds of requests from Emacs users who, for some reason, just don't want to leave their operating system. So they just want to control.
I know how it feels. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense to do such a thing. I think it can be very useful. So I'll think how to make it controllable from the REPL or from somewhere.
It would be nice, because when you said a new window, I mean, usually Emacs is full screen, so like I'm not gonna use any other windows here. So
yeah.
Well, you've only got one screen now. Come on, that's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 now, but everything is just mirrored with Emacs,
One thing I was going to ask you, actually, Vlad, in terms of like usability, if we can go into if I can get some user advice from you, the thing that I find a little bit with Reveal is that, like, I mean, I use it on Linux with Cursive, like a civilized person, and just to annoy VJ. That's the only reason I do it. No, so when I open Reveal and I sort of do things, all the views are kind of lined up at the top, but it kind of like runs out of screen pretty quickly. I navigating it seems to be a bit tricky for me. Am I missing some trick here with?
Don't use Linux.
What the options are in terms of the UI. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I should read the manual maybe, but.
Sorry, I couldn't understand the problem from your description. Can you maybe reword
fuck you.
it?
Okay. No, yeah, it's okay.
Not a bug close.
User error. Fuck off.
Exactly. The PBCS KSE thing, like back in the day, there used to be like problem exists between keyboard and the chair. So
oh god, yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem there.
It totally is. No. So just I'll have another crack at it. Okay. So let's say you right click on some map or some data, yeah, and it comes up with a list like Java Bean or Nav or table or pie chart or whatever. So you click on something at view table, and it gives you the table, and this is all very nice. Then you click on other views, and that view is also, it's all part of like a line across the middle of of Reveal. So you have this long line of things, and you can kind of go left, but I can't find a way to scroll it. I can't find a way to, like, other than to sort of click on the left.
Oh,
it's difficult to scroll through. Maybe I'm missing something.
Oh yeah. So yeah, 2 points. First is that there is a bug with scoring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Fuck you.
No, duplicate, close. It's either one fix or it's a duplicate. We know that. It's okay. Fuck off.
Yeah. But do you know that?
Oh, this is great. Okay, sorry.
Do you know that you can use Control left and Control right to switch between, like, the views in the results panel?
Oh, I didn't know that. No. There we go. Oh, yeah, it does work. Yeah. Okay.
So if you have multiple tabs there.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. This is like a part of a more closer plans of Reveal, is that I'm reworking the navigation. One part of that is that I'm adding structural navigation, and I will also experiment with like how auto scrolling works. So
right, okay. What does that mean to me? I don't understand. From your description.
Fuck you.
Woo, we're having a good time tonight. Okay.
You're going to be a repeat guest, Vlad. I mean,
sorry, I wasn't sure if I should say that.
Please.
Oh, you totally should, yeah.
Please don't apologize. We invite people to tell, basically that thing to Ray. That's why we invite people. Yeah.
Oh, come on, VJ. You've missed out for too long. Yeah, go on, Vlad.
Yeah, I'm planning to improve the navigation a little bit. So it's like currently if you evaluate some value and it's like really, really big, usually the screen just keeps scrolling down, and
right.
You don't really. I think like when you evaluate something, you expect to see like the beginning of the value, not the end. So this is one of the things I'm planning to experiment with. And another is a structural navigation, which is currently absent, but I'm working on it, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be better than any other structural navigation that exists in the market.
Maybe this is like this question should have been asked like in the beginning. So, what is the inspiration for Reveal? So, is there any prior art or something that you saw, or some idea that you got in sleep, like a DNA helix thingy?
It was a long time ago. I think it was summer 2018 when I started to think about Reveal. Okay. And this is all I remember.
It does feel a long time ago, man.
Yeah. I think it maybe started with dev cards. So I was looking at them and I had the idea of like having some similar thing for the GVM. But initially the idea was to have like dev cards, sort of pop-ups, like post-it notes on the window that just appear when you request them and disappear when you request them to disappear. Yeah, but since then it's evolved to something else.
Okay.
So maybe dev cards.
So right now, so it's 1.0, and then you're working on a couple of fancy new features. And structural navigation, you said, right?
Yeah, this is what's currently on my plate.
Yeah. So is there something that because it's open source, right? It's on GitHub, so people can contribute. So is there something that are you looking for contributions, or are you saying, okay, fuck off, open a Jira ticket and then fuck you? And then
a Jira ticket? Fix it. Oh my god!
Please we'll fix it when we fix it.
Do you have a Jira, Vlad? Do you?
Not yet, but why not?
Oh, okay. Exactly. It's free now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if there is something obvious to improve in code that I'm open for contributions, but I'm not currently seeking for contributions. And I mean, I think the best thing you can do for Reveal is use it and tell me about your experience with it. And
I don't know. Whenever I've done that, I've always found that you've told me to fuck off. So
I guess it depends on who opens the bug. If it's coming from deafened people, direct to dev null, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that sense, it's a proper Clojure experience, really. Yeah. It's not about me. Yeah.
But there is a Slack channel in Clojurians. I don't tell people to fuck off there, so you can you can write there.
No, I mean you don't.
No,
you don't
it's
seem
very
like
good. It's very good actually. You're very, very. What should I say? Very affable and charming host.
Yeah,
unlike
thank
VJ.
you.
And I think there is as you probably with your design experience notice that the whole in general the developer experience is less concerned about the user experience. I think most of the time, and it's I did some Flash development a long time ago when it was still Macromedia thing, and writing code in different IDEs and all that stuff, and it never goes to a point where you really like the tool and enjoy the experience, and okay, this is very well thought out, from user experience point of view.
Well,
I mean, apart from Emacs,
Well,
oh, he's great. We're having a great time tonight.
I
Cracking the jokes.
Yeah.
I think Clojure is about user experience. I mean, REPL is a great user experience compared to compiled languages. Like being able to see the results of your code, the code immediately. I think that's a great user experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think problems I work in them are sort of open, so it's not like there's any obvious thing to do. For example, I was rewatching a talk by Brett Victor, which is called "Invention on Principle," which is it's a very interesting talk, and
sure.
Yeah, I don't know if Clojure was inspired by that or not, but
no, I think the Brett Victor talk came later. I think.
Yeah.
Or at least the Clojure script and the fig wheel thing probably inspired by Brett Victor thing as well.
Yeah,
I think it's a live editing sort of thing or live changes.
Yeah, but it's like I feel that there is a unsolved problem that I currently can't quite formulate, but I can try a little bit. And the thing is, like, the tools he talks about, for example, are for problem domains that are very visual. And for visual problem domains, I mean, using some kind of reactive UI, it's sort of easy to build interactive tools. But I think like the general programming is not that visual. We are dealing with highly interconnected graphs of I don't know what.
Yeah, systems or components.
Yeah, or symbols that have different connections, and trying to display them like as a boxes connected with lines. I mean, it's just a complete mess. So I think there are yet not many good maybe visual metaphors for the kind of stuff we are usually dealing with like on the daily basis. And well, I guess apart the visual problems that we have. So this is another thing I'm thinking on, is that how do you make visible what is such an abstract thing?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, contributions for that kind of stuff are very welcome.
Yeah.
So here is the problem.
I think one of the things that I'm kind of interested in is there's a lot of this stuff around like you say about like graphs and nodes and edges and stuff like that. And there's still, to me, that's a very interesting like space, because on the one hand, it's kind of like it's very quick to get like an unwieldy graph. Because if you visualize a graph that's got all these interconnected edges, then it suddenly just becomes a kind of like just a mess. It just becomes like a spider's web, or worse. It just becomes like a total labyrinth. But if you can say, okay, well, something along the lines of, if a particular predicate is true, highlight this truth through the graph, through all the vertices, through all the edges. that seems to me quite promising, but I haven't seen much around that really, a lot of these kind of graph visualization things don't seem to be that programmable.
Yeah, or maybe they're maybe just like the visual metaphor wasn't invented yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lie to say they're not programmable. I mean, they are programmable in the sense that you can program them, but in terms of like live interactivity.
Isn't this because we have it's too general, right? I mean, the problem domain is too general, and also I'm assuming everybody when they're reading the code, they will build this model in their mind. When they're working on a project, I'm pretty sure they have some idea of, in the case of Clojure, how the namespaces are connected, how the functions are getting called by each other.
Yeah. That's
all the stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what was bothering me from my very first days in my career, is that there is a code and there is a mental model.
Yeah.
And they're different. And I built this mental model from code like over the very long period of time. And it would be nice if I was able to see, like, to make this process of learning, of building this model, more easy.
Yeah.
Tractable.
I think,
I think that's
the
Brett Victor thing, though, isn't it? That's the Brett Victor thing, is that you should be able to sort of visualize, like from the text to some visual thing, and then from the visual thing back to the text. But I think it's a very elusive, it's a very elusive kind of dream in some ways. He made some interesting examples, but it does elude us in the general sense.
Yeah. It's like I feel that all his examples are sort of about visual domains, so it's possible to.
I mean, the one example he gave that was not visual, but was the I think he was doing a sort, quick sort.
Yes. Yeah, I remember this example. So there's like an algorithm that you implement in a text editor on the left, and on the right there is a sort of a REPL output.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But isn't this something like code visualization is something kind of sort of UML shit was trying to solve?
But have they solved it?
No, they didn't. But that's what I'm saying.
Oh man, it's such a fuck up. Yeah.
Because one of the, for what it's worth, I mean, if you have large Java code base, I mean, I can quickly whip up and then say, okay, show me the class diagrams for all this shit. Then of course, it will point to all the links are everywhere, and then you could at least generate that kind of stuff. But slowly, but these kind of tooling was very popular in the 90s, I guess, and then later, none of the other programming languages, nobody seems to focus on this side of the programming, like how do I visualize this one, because this is a big challenge when you want to explore the code, right? I mean, I just want to open some large code base and I don't know where to start from, and then I have to I'll have a lot of implicit knowledge about which modules are connected to what, where should I start, and these kind of things.
Yeah, I just think that the metaphor of boxes connected with lines is wrong. It's like it's very wasteful on space. It's like there's a Lunalang, which is a visual programming language.
Yes.
And I just saw some demos of it where, for example, they like build the charts from like two like stock market tickers, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And like they have the whole screen to connect three nodes, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then something new that they connect to. And I mean, you can represent the same thing in text in like, I don't know, 4 words or 3 words. And some parents. I mean, the text is already like a very visual and dense environment. So I think text wins over boxes connected with lines.
Yeah.
But I think you make a good point, which is essentially the kind of the complexity budget or the complexity capabilities of visual programming is very limited.
Yes.
And I think that's essentially the big issue, is that
maybe that helps in writing simpler programs, like if you're bringing the constraints in, then by the time you introduce the complexity, it will be in your face, and like, oh fuck, okay, this is now getting complex now, because we hide away the complexity in text and then modules and then move that away. I mean, obviously, rest of the 200 classes, I don't care about them. I'm only going to put an annotation in this tiny place and move on. So this shit will be much more visible if if it is visual. That's the interesting part. But I think this keeps this kind of ideas keep coming to all these text-based user interface, right? I mean, there is this new wave of terminals, that are much more richer rather than just plain dumb bash, just piping shit into text in this way and that way.
Yeah.
And that is another place where people are trying with web tech, or make everything clickable and that kind of stuff.
But doesn't it boil down essentially to Vlad's point earlier, which is which essentially, and it's Clojure's point in general, I think, which is, or it seems to be the evolution of Clojure, that's the way it's going, is that more and more and more and more things as data. And then once you've got things as data, then they're innately more explorable and more kind of open than text or kind of classes or things like that. Because they're just more obvious and more explorable, more.
Yeah.
You can see
so until we solve this problem, we at least got revealed.
Point.
So,
Yeah. Well, this is the nice thing about Reveal to me, is that suddenly, as Clojure itself is becoming more data oriented, and things like Tap, which I didn't get before, but now I do, thank God. And as a lot of the frameworks are moving towards data as well, feeding data, as a kind of like input to how systems work, use maps and configurations and this kind of stuff. Then your ability to visualize those things is going to be more powerful with things like Reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can say that, well, Reveal already has some interesting things that I am experiment with from time to time. It's like, for example, it has a ref watcher.
Right.
So you can create your view that is reactive on the contents of some ref. And vars are refs. So you can create like quick sort like example from Brett Victor's, where you can create like a watcher that watches your expression, like your var that you iterate on, and continuously like show the result of evaluating it. And you can like write some codes, send the form that defines this this var, and it will immediately update it.
Yeah.
And I think
that's really excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be very useful, but maybe right now it requires some setup. But I mean, that's not a big setup. It's all can be built from the built-in extensibility features. You just have to know how to use it.
You're using it wrong. That's another way to close the bug. You're holding it wrong.
No, I think it's very important to know that there exists something that you can use.
Yeah. I think this is one of the biggest challenges with the new age UIs, right? I mean, the discoverability is really big problem, and obviously, that's the reason why I prefer Spacemacs, because of the discoverability. I just press space and I know what is available.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
Actually,
that is like truly, not possible in any other IDEs so far,
Yeah.
or editors.
Yeah, I really love this part of SpaceMax.
Yeah.
So Reveal also uses space as the main shortcut to open the context menu.
Ooh. So that's where you got the inspiration from. Emacs, we know now. Nice.
I think we're out of time now.
So let's talk about SpaceMax then. So that's when we say, oh, no. Anyway, so any other things that you're doing that worth to mention now? Because there is, I think mostly CLJFX has multiple projects in it, I think, and Reveal, and also the bigger problem space that you're thinking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything left to mention. Well, maybe. Well, I guess the problem is that Reveal is visual, and we are in the podcast where no one can see it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they can visualize our podcast by now. It's basically bleeps and
Yeah, but I'll be giving a talk at Clojure on 7th of November, where I will give a presentation with slides and anything, and we will be talking about Reveal. So if you want to have a look at it, please join.
Perfect. I think hopefully our episode will be before that 7th November. Because our episodes usually lazy load, so they're going a little bit later. I don't know, and depending on the situation. But if you are listening to this before 7th November, what time, by the way? The thing?
Oh, I don't remember. I think
okay, 7th November at some point. Follow Cyclo's Twitter account, and obviously the people at Cyclo's they're doing some awesome stuff. So if you're listening to this before 7th November, now you know. If you're listening to this after 7th November, we
just
told
watch
you
the
so.
YouTube video.
Watch the YouTube video, yeah.
Exactly. So on that,
and I think you've got some very nice. Just before we finish, I think you've got some very nice visualizations on the GitHub page as well, and animations and stuff like this. So I think people can very quickly get a good feel for what Reveal does. And,
yeah, that too.
Sorry to invite you on a podcast. Our bad.
We gotta make a live videos again to show what is happening. But maybe I'm not sure. I think Ray, you can do this on Apropos, right? Then you can show.
Yeah, no, we actually featured Portal, so I might invite Vlad on Apropos as well, because then we can do a YouTube. Well, we do it on Discord again, but it's all kind of streamed and live. So that could be another good place for you to actually do a demo again. So we can do a bit of cross promotional work here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
sounds great.
Yeah. Right, excellent.
Because obviously, the biggest challenge is how to visualize. We have hard time visualizing stuff in a audio-based medium. So
yeah,
I think it makes sense to just show it, instead of telling about it. That's much easier, I guess.
Yeah, I think this has been very good exploration of the ideas and of the architecture and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. We need another way to actually show it off for real. It's a pretty excellent tool. So, I encourage everyone to go and try it out and have a look, no matter what you editor. All editors welcome. So it's...
Well, there is only one that matters. So, as long as it has connectivity between Emacs and everybody's happy.
And sooner or later, you will be able to control it from the Emacs.
Exactly. I think then it is the perfect world. Everything should be controllable from Emacs. We need reveal.el.
Really, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so on that bombshell, I think we can wrap up the episode. Thanks a lot, Vlad, for coming on the show and then trying to explain something such a visual thing via the only sound. But unlike Ray, I haven't. Thank you. Unlike Ray, I haven't tried it yet, so I'm going to give it a try certainly. Then probably bother you with some questions on Slack when I get to a point where if I cannot connect it using Emacs. Then you'll close it as won't fix.
I think that would be a big fuck off. Fuck off from me and a fuck off from him. That's a perfect way to end the show.
Exactly. So let's everybody fuck off now. Anyway.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Vlad. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Again. Yeah, totally. Same. And hopefully everybody is staying safe in these times. And we will see you in another episode soon-ish. And don't forget to check out, or maybe you have checked out already, 7th November, the presentation by Vlad on Clojure. I think you should be able to see the links for them on the regular stuff like Clojureverse, and also Clojure Twitter account and all of the places and Reddit. So that's it from us for this episode. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to this episode of DefN. And the awesome vegetarian music or the track is Melon Hamburger by Pizzeri. And the show's audio is mixed by Wouter Dullert. I'm pretty sure I butchered his name. Maybe you should insert your own name here, Dullert.
Wouter.
If you'd like to support us, please do check out our Patreon page. And you can show your appreciation to all the hard work or the lack of hard work that we're doing. And you can also catch up with either Ray, with me for some unexplainable reason. You want to interact with us, then do check us out on Slack, Clojurian Slack or Clojureverse, or on Zulip, or just at us at DefN Podcast on Twitter. Enjoy your day and see you in the next episode. We keep insulting old guests, so they will show up again to kick our asses.
Who is this fucker that we've had on the show before?